Hello students, welcome to the Pole Science of Class 11 Arts, and today we are here with a new topic, and the topic's name is judiciary. And regarding this topic judiciary, we will today discuss about some of the important points related to this topic. So let us proceed then. So regarding judiciary is an independent body to settle down the disputes arising between the individuals or groups or government on the basis of the rule of law. That means if we talk about judiciary, we know that the judiciary is an independent body. Apart from executive and legislature, this judiciary is the third organ which is independent in nature. And what is the work of judiciary? It is to settle down the disputes arising between the individuals or groups. That means any disputes that are there between any groups or between any individuals or the government on the basis of the rule of law. That means according to the rule of law, the judiciary will advise or will try to solve the disputes, if any, there is between an individuals, between the governments, between the individuals or between the groups. And this judiciary will act as an independent body. And why it is there to settle down the disputes? It will settle down the disputes based on the rule of law, terming all as equal in the eyes of law. Now related to second point, the rule of laws ensures supremacy of law, which safeguards the right of individuals, settle disputes, and ensures that democracy does not give way to individual or group dictatorship. So as we have discussed in the previous point, that regarding the rule of laws, it ensures what? Supremacy of law. And if we talk about the supremacy of law safeguards the rights of individuals, because judiciary is an independent body and it sees everyone equal before the eyes of law. So for that reason only, it safeguards the rights of individuals, settles disputes, and ensures that democracy does not give way to individual or group dictatorship. So under democracy, the judiciary does three important things. Firstly, it safeguards the rights of the individuals. Whatever the rights is given to us, it safeguards that first. After that, it tries to settle disputes, and after that, after settling disputes, after safeguarding the rights, fundamental rights, lastly it ensures that democracy does not give way to individual or group dictatorship. That means it does not support or encourages dictatorship that may be related to individual dictatorship also and group dictatorship also. So according to the rule of law, the judiciary does these three important things. Firstly is the safeguarding of rights of individuals, secondly settling disputes, and thirdly ensuring democracy does not give way to dictatorship either in an individual or in the way of group dictatorship. Regarding number 3, a judiciary should be independent means executive or legislature should not interfere either in the functioning or decisions of the judiciary, as well as judges could perform their duties without any fear or favor. So as we know that the three organs are there, namely executive, judiciary, and legislature. So all these are independent in nature, and in that particular condition, when a judiciary is being termed as independent organ, that means that neither executive nor legislature should come and interfere in any of the work related to the judiciary. They should not, the executive and legislature should not interfere in the works of judiciary. And the judges that are related to the judiciary should perform their duties well, and whatever the decision should be taken by them, they should take the decisions without any fear or favor, without doing any favor to anyone or without having any fear while deliberating or delivering the verdict. So in this way, judiciary should be termed as independent in real sense, and executive and legislature should not interfere in the work, and the judges should be left free so that they can deliver their verdict without fearing or without having or giving any favor to anyone. Clear? Next point, the Constitution of India has the provision for single integrated judicial system. That means if we talk about the Constitution of India, it has the provision for single integrated judicial system. That means single integrated judicial system is there, in which the Supreme Court is the highest court. After that comes the High Court in every state. After that the district or the sessions court or the subordinate court, which can be subdivided again into the criminal court, subordinate court, like that. So for that only the Constitution of India has the provision of single integrated judicial system that runs in a single chain. The provisions for the Supreme Court of India have been made consisting a Chief Justice and 31 other judges. And regarding this single integrated judicial system, related firstly with the higher court and the topmost court of India, that is the Supreme Court, the provisions for the Supreme Court is that it consists of Chief Justice and 31 other judges. Clear? That means the Supreme Court of India consists of a Chief Justice as the head, and under him or her there are another 31 judges who will look after the works of the Supreme Court. The Chief Justice of India is appointed by the President under Article 124 of the Indian Constitution. He or she should be the senior most judge of the Supreme Court. So, regarding the provisions for the Supreme Court, we know that it consists of Chief Justice as the head, and under him or her are another 31 judges. After that, the Chief Justice, who is the head of the Supreme Court, is appointed by the President under Article 124. Remember this is the important point, that short question might come regarding this, the appointment of Chief Justice, that Chief Justice is appointed by whom and by which article. The answer should be the Chief Justice of India is appointed by the President under Article 124. Remember. And what is the eligibility criteria of choosing or appointing the Chief Justice? If anyone is being chosen as the Chief Justice of India, that means he or she should be the senior most judge of the Supreme Court. That means in order of seniority only, the Chief Justice of India is appointed by the President under Article 24, and he or she should be the senior most. This is the eligibility criteria to be the Chief Justice of India. Clear? The judges of the Supreme Court and the High Court are appointed by the President after consultation with the Chief Justice of India. And as a part of the composition of Supreme Court, we know that Chief Justice and another 31 judges are there. So when it comes to the appointment of the judges after Chief Justice, as the Chief Justice is appointed by the President under Article 124, after that remains the appointment process of the judges of both the Supreme Court and High Court, and that is also appointed by the President, but the President before appointing consults the Chief Justice. That means after consultation with the Chief Justice of India, the President appoints the judges of the Supreme Court and the High Court. Clear? So with this I will wind up today's topic related to the discussion on important points from the topic judiciary, where we studied about the judiciary as an independent body which settle down disputes between groups, individuals or government. Then we discussed about the single integrated judicial system which India follows according to the Constitution of India. Then according to the Supreme Court composition, there is a Chief Justice and 31 other judges. The Chief Justice of India is appointed by the President under Article 124, and he or she is appointed after the eligibility criteria is that he or she should be the senior most judge of the Supreme Court. Then The judges of the Supreme Court and High Court are also appointed by the President, but after consultation with the Chief Justice of India. So please make a note down of all these important points. In the next class we will start from point number 7. Thank you.